And we're probably going to see Arabia. This really does seem like it. And yep, it is. So we're going to see how are Empire of Knights going to do against Run for a Strat run on this very open and aggressive map. So this time we are actually seeing a working overlay. Well, in the game last night in the Black Forest that took like 2.5 hours of game time, well, actually did not have to, or rather couldn't rely on that, but today that's not going to be the case. And we see that Kanala, as the host of the room, who is the first we have a look at, is at this point having pretty nicely the boars and also quite decent amount of sheep. So he will be having a very nice start indeed, and also the berries here at the right side. Otherwise, he also uses some of those sheep to try and locate some extra gold mines, stone mines, and whatever, because he doesn't see them yet. But where are they? Oh, here's one of the mines. And he is playing as Mayan. That's something that I haven't noticed, and we are playing in a mirror, as we see. And well, Dark Device is playing Han, Chavez Mestre also Hans, and Sorade Amigo also Mayans. Hollander, hey, well, Dark Device is a pretty good player. He's like 1900 or something like that. Let me quickly check. I think so. He has highest rating at this point around 1800, but I think he's slightly better than that. So yeah, pretty good. And Kanala is something like 70-50 plus, so pretty decent players indeed. As for Empire of Knights, they are slightly lower, something like 1650, but still on Woobly, that means that you are still pretty decent at the game and can make things happen. Scouting continuing for the Grey player who has already discovered the double stone. This one is kind of unfortunate because obviously it's having a lot of sides kind of covered by those woods, but at the same time it's stone, so you don't usually have all that many villies on stone as on gold, so might not be all that much of a problem, even though, yeah, it's not really all that ideal, but not game breaking at this point. Let's have a more wider look at his base. There is a second goal right next to the site, which is pretty nice indeed for him. In gold, does he see it? Yeah, he does. He's having very nice scouting indeed, and he's also having a relic right next to his base, which is pretty nice also with this extra hunt. So let's switch with the Fog of War into another player. That's going to be the second one from RFR, Dark Levi's. And he seems to be kind of close to the wall, which is not usually something that you want all that much, because especially on Arabia, that is kind of hard to wall up, and yeah, you can see that this is not going to be easy to wall at all. You are kind of limited in the room for your base then, and you don't really have all that much space to actually run back to or retreat to from potentially battles at your forefronts, so not really ideal, but in this game, well, let's see if that's going to play any kind of importance. And at the front as well, stone kind of far away. A bit would maybe like it to have slightly closer, but not really all that tragic. The gold was very nicely placed, close to the TC and the tree line, and well, this boar is also pretty nice with the second one already being butchered. Some extra mines for him in the darkness here, well, just the wolf. Just the wolf relic gold there. Well, that's pretty nice, and overall the map seems kinda decent, and oh well, this is slightly unfortunate. These two mines are definitely his, even though they are the extras, obviously. But yeah, he will have to do quite a lot of woodcutting if he wants to get there, because otherwise, yeah, there's kinda a lot of way around. But still, seems to be a pretty sweet patch of map for him, with the relic as well, another mine, and only one wolfie guarding it. So we will be switching into the other guys. That's going to be what is this? Our barracks. So Dark Levi's will be probably Drashin at this point. Let's switch into Kanala. If he's trying to do something like that as well. No, he isn't. And we will be moving into the next team, the Empire of Knights. Chavez Mestre, as the purple player, will be the first one to have a look at, and he's basically having the same situation as Dark Levi's, being very close to the wall, which is not really ideal, as you have kind of limited options where to run to, but let's see if he'll be needing that. Yeah, he's already walling himself in, as he's expecting RFR's Run Forest Run to be quite aggressive with him, which really might be the case, and I would expect it, because RFR's home map is this Arabia, and they will be definitely thinking to use their higher ratings to their advantage. Dropping barracks as well, so maybe some kind of a dash for him. Also, Chavez Mestre, he's at 18 villies, so yeah, why not? They could be doing something like that, but the walling is not going to be easy at all, because he might wall this part of the map, but this is still wide open, and if he wants to finish with some extra palisade wall right there, you can see that he's definitely thinking about defense altogether right now, just trying to protect himself, even when just building the barracks here. Well, let's see if this is going to yield any kind of reward for him. Now, this is slightly unfortunate, as he could definitely use a mining camp here, but as you can see, looking at this wood line, or rather wood in his resources, he doesn't have enough yet, and he will need something extra. So right now, this guy is just waiting here for nothing to happen. And, well, let's see. Yeah, basically the fact that he didn't have enough for the mining camp is because of those walls, I would say, as they're not really expensive, but when you build so many of them, it gets to your economy. So he's already butchering the second boar, if I saw this correctly, or did he have just one? Not really sure at this point, but stone is kind of open. This hunt would be nice, but since he's very interested in guarding himself in, he's not really going for it, but he's going for a drash, so 3 militias. And let's switch into Dark Levi's, who was doing the same thing, I kind of think. And yeah, he's already... Oh, well. That's a bit of a bad drash there. Well, 5 militias. Okay, that's not usually what you see. You usually see just those 3. Exactly as Saudade Amigo is trying to implement against him. And well, it seems like that everybody is going for a drashing here, but... Oh yeah, okay. Canala was just slightly slower, as we didn't see really the barracks all that soon, but he's definitely going for the same thing, and he will be attacking onto purple pretty soon as well. Right now, though, he pretty much knows what's happening here, and he will be ready due to the Eagle Scout here, and... Oh well, that was slightly unfortunate, as he ran next to the goal and was almost killed. But yeah, he's pretty much dead at this point. If he engages the enemy with some extras, he will die anyway. So yep, those 5 militias are right now going to rampage through the bases here. And is that going to be really useful for Dark Levi's, because he is the only one not advancing into feudal age yet, whereas Chavez right now clicking, and Chavez Master with Saudade Amigo are actually advancing faster than both RFRs, and might be having something on their minds. So yeah, this is a pretty good engagement for him, but they need to run away from the TC. And unfortunately he already lost one, so that's not something that he wanted, and that basically levels the field, because right now they have suffered quite a lot of extra damage from the TC, and if Blue micros this properly, he might be able to kill all this army with just those 3 militias and 1 Eagle Warrior that he is having. Yep, he just needs 1 extra villages in. Yeah, right now he's just thinking about it, that he wants to catch them. And will he? Well, Red is so far pretty careful, but he is getting slowly closer. And Blue is trying to catch him, but this is definitely going Red's way at this point, because he's just denying those blue villagers gathering any kind of resources, which is at this stage pretty crucial. And here we see the engagement. Now is he gonna go for Red? 1 dead, and since Blue is having a lot of villagers there, he should probably be winning, and probably quite assuredly winning actually, because those militias are not actually all that much better than the villagers. You can see villagers are having 40 health, 3 attack, whereas those guys are also having 40 health and 4 attack. So yeah, and armor 01, whereas villagers 01 also. So yep, it's not really all that much of a difference, and once you implement some extra release in there, it's just going to result into a wreckage of those militias. So Blue has defended himself successfully, even though I kinda think that Dark Levi's expenditure in those 2 extra militias was well worth it, as he was stopping the economy quite substantially. And do we see something interesting on the right side here? Well, okay, so Grey went basically for the same kind of strategy as Dark Levi's did for extra militias, not just the 3 as is usual, and he is right now trying to raid this tower, which might be a good idea. Oh, he's actually switching into man-at-arms, so yeah. 1 extra reason that he might be taking this tower down, but still, will he be able to? Because obviously this skirmisher, even though he's not having all that much high attack, he is still going to help quite immensely. And as you can see, he is luring some of the armies from the tower and into the tower fire, so this means that Grey is basically out of the game at this point. Well, I would kinda expect that Chavez Mestre will probably continue with either the skirmishers or maybe just normal archers. So let's see about that. I would kinda think that archers would be slightly better, but he is opting for the skirmishers, as he's wanting probably to save gold for, I don't know, maybe knights? That's kind of interesting. I would be expecting when he's gathering all that much gold that he would be maybe going for normal archers, but he isn't. And what is Grey doing? Well, Dark Levi's is advancing into castle, so he's not really thinking about some kind of possible raiding with Scout Cavalry or whatever. So he will be attempting to kill his blue opponent pretty fast. And so Rade Amigo is advancing into castle as well. So it seems like pretty much the same strategies, but with advantage into Dark Levi's by like half a minute. Well, Grey is not really doing all that much at this point, so I would be expecting him to go into advance as well. Let's switch into his point of view to see the amount of resources. Yep, 800 foot right now waiting. And he will be advancing into the next stage as well. Oh, this is what Grey is doing. Okay, I should really get the mod for those black colors for the Grey players, as on the minimap it's really hard to see, and this is quite interesting indeed. This tower is very well placed because it basically well in range of this tree line, which means that purple has to go somewhere else, and he's going kinda interesting ways. And he will soon learn that that was a pretty bad idea. As you can see, that Kanala is having quite a lot of army and villages here, and he's going to try and steal a stone and basically trash his opponent to oblivion, which is going to work, I kinda think, because obviously those guys, once Kanala is able to figure them out and locate them, that's pretty much going to be it. He's attempting to do so, so let's switch off, another switch on the Fog of 4, and he should be seeing that, possibly. That something is happening in here, and will he be? So far though, he is seeing that Chaves Mestre is sending quite a lot of villagers his way, which is exactly what he wants at this point. And is Grey paying enough attention? I would be maybe thinking that right now he was looking into his base because he's being slightly raided by those skirmishers, but skirmishers don't have really all that high attack, just 2, so he doesn't need to worry about it, and he would be much better poised to actually take care of this attack in here. So some advances into Castle Age have happened from both RFR and EoK. And well, I'm kind of thinking at this point that Chaves Mestre might be needing a bit of help from his ally, because Kanal is doing a pretty good job with microwing those archers on the hill here and making sure that he does have all the advantage that he can possibly get on this map with the extra attack from the elevation. And yep, extra archers still trickling in, and he might be kinda wanting to switch into some other unit pretty soon, because obviously those skirmishers are direct counters to those archers, and yeah, even though he's having a quite large number of those archers, it's not going to go all that well for him. Yeah, right now, especially when we see that purple is having quite a lot of skirmishers himself that are basically immune to those archers. Yep, Grey will have to do something else. Blue at the same time is finishing his walls. Oh yeah, those stone walls all around his base, and he's right now attempted to be raided by Red, but he's not really going to be having any kind of luck. But on this gold, most definitely. And if Red can locate that, he could definitely brag his economy. I'm not exactly sure how many gold mines he does have in the back. Well, quite enough actually. 1, 2, 3, so he can survive for quite some time. And he has really walled himself in quite nicely. And this is not half bad base to actually develop into proper Castle Age as the Mayan. Interesting indeed. So that's a second one already TC for Red. We see a lot of cavalry archers, second TC being built as well, or rather third, sorry, on a very compact space. Interesting that he doesn't want even to gather some extra resources, or rather capture some extra resources, and he's probably hoping that Grey maybe will be able to win by himself, but it's not really going to be easy. And even though he has switched into crossbowmen already, those skirmishers, yep, they are still a problem, and much more one of problem is on this tower at this point. But with a bit of micro, he will be still able to kill some of those villagers. But yet another tower is coming up, it seems. Yep, it is. And this should result in pretty much safe gathering of both the wood and the stone at both sides. At both sides here of those towers. Greg, sorry, this one is not there, but visit rts-league.com, or rather .org, sorry, I'm just going to post it. Chat. And you can find the brackets in there, clicking on the Age of Empires League, and you will see the standings right off. Well, so it seems like that Purple has been able to defend himself quite nicely, whereas Grey is still just making sure that he has enough presence and enough military buildings right on the doorstep of his opponent. And right now he's trying to switch the sides, which is a nice idea, as all the army from Purple is just on the left, trying to protect the economy, whereas the right flank of the economy, the more important one in the food line here, is being threatened. And some extra skirmishes from Grey is actually a pretty good idea, because if he can micro them exactly like this in front of those crossbowmen, they will be kind of false targets for those skirmishes from Purple, and this will be very nicely played indeed. Bongo, and I'm from Czech Republic, sorry. So yep, there's the Slavic R. I might often heard in there. Chavez Mestre is also advancing into Castle Age, so he is the last one, but not really for long, and not exactly sure what he hopes to do there. Maybe switch into some kind of stables and knights. That's probably something that he should be doing, especially when he's playing hunts. And so far he's not going for that though. He's just going for heavy defense with all those towers, and well, he's going to be helped by his teammate Blue. Or will he? Will he? Well, Blue is maybe attempting to raid his opponent because he's feeling very safe behind all these pretty huge walls, and he has also very nicely secured the gold, which was definitely some kind of opportunity for Dark Levi's to make some kind of attempt on this gold, which was very open, but right now it isn't, and he will be forced to go through the walls the hard way, which he will be able to do pretty nicely with those Magonals, as I don't see any kind of army from Blue, only those extra crossbowmen that will go in for potentially Grey and the Wolfie, and that might be about it for the army from Blue, which is not really enough, and he definitely needs to do something else than just extra TCs, because yep, this is not going to be enough. I'm going to switch into him. If he's maybe trying to create some extra Mangonels himself, yeah, he is. And yet another wall here, so as the second line of defense for him. I'm not exactly sure why isn't he still building some kind of plume torches at this point. It's really curious. Really curious indeed, and he has a way through. Okay, so he will be probably seeing it. Yeah, he does. And he's fully through, which will mean that no gold gathering at this point. So, big problems at this point for Blue player, who is losing one of those Mangonels and building second one just now, which will be way too late, and with those 3 guys probably taking care of the Siege Workshop very soon. Yeah, not good times for the Blue player at this point. Switching back to the Purple base, you can see that Purple is not really doing all that well once those extra Mangonels together with the battering rams have been introduced into the army, and Purple is still moving leftwards. He has already built Siege Workshop himself and another TC, trying to somehow establish himself some kind of safe haven for his villagers, but is it really going to be enough? Not really sure, and this would be a good shot. Yeah, that was a very nice one. Getting rid of 2 Mangonels and maybe dealing some decent amount of damage to those crossbowmen, but still not really killing all of them, and Purple is really at the shorter end of the stick, but he is finally switching into the correct unit, and those are knights, but he needs to really be careful about them. He doesn't want to throw them at his opponent one by one, as that is exactly what Kanala wants. Switching back to the left side, where Blue is under heavy attack from Red. Red is doing quite well, and the 5 Mangonels is a pretty huge army at this point, and I'm not exactly sure what Saudade Amigo is trying to do against them. He was building some extra Mangonels himself, but with our Siege Workshops now, Workshop times 2 is just now being built. No, it's just a castle, and until he finish, well, he might be slightly lucky, because Dark Levi's probably doesn't have line of sight on it. Yeah, he doesn't, so he doesn't know that anything like that is happening here, and even though he will lose one of those TCs, he still won't lose the castle. Finally, some plume touches. And the castle number 2 will basically stop what he's attempting to do here. But at the same time, looking at the villagers, we see that Kanala 65, Dark Levi 79, but Chavez Mestre just 28. Saudade Amigo not bad at 64, that's actually pretty decent, but Chavez Mestre is at this point in a pretty horrible spot, as even though Blue was able to defend himself and is forcing Red to retreat, that's probably just an intermittent pause, whereas Purple is pretty much getting killed. Here you can see that he wasn't able to amass enough army to repel what is happening from Kanala, and yep, can he get a good shot here? Yeah, he at least hit this Mangonel, but maybe was hoping for a bit of a shot. Very nice micro with the flank formation, and yeah, he didn't hit any of those crossbowmen, so he will have to build another one and hope for a slightly better shot. But I'm kinda thinking that right now Kanala should be well aware of what is happening here, as that's basically the last chance for Purple to somehow stay in the game, and if he's careful enough, he will be able to kill the potential new Mangonel as soon as it comes into his line of sight. Chavez Mestre though is not really giving up at all, as he's still building some extra villages on the left side, probably hoping that he can somehow establish himself there. And what is happening on the left? Well, Red is recuperating, or rather reforming and regrouping, that's the right word I was looking for, and going for a lot of upgrades: heavy flow, scale barding armor, cartography, gold mining, and guard. Well, that's going to be pretty beastly echo for him very soon, and overall Blue will be having to do quite a lot of stuff at this point if he wants to defend himself, especially with Kanala advancing into Imperial Age and having a pretty strong stranglehold on his opponent Purple, Chavez Mestre. Chavez Mestre is sending yet another Mangonel in, and he has killed yet another Grey Mangonel as well, and can he finally get a good shot to those crossbowmen? Doesn't seem so, as Kanala is being pretty careful, and maybe I would expect some kind of castle right about here. That would be a pretty sweet spot for him. I'm not really thinking that Chavez Mestre would be able to do absolutely anything against that. A bit of a raiding from Blue, that's very nicely done. Dark Device advancing into Imperial Age as well, and yep, this is a pretty nice raiding from Blue here, trying to take the fight back to the red player. Yeah, there's some pretty decent amount of villagers killed, and oh well, that's going to be pretty much it. As those cavalry archers with some pretty nice armor are going to be just enough to get rid of all those plumed archers, and looking somewhere else, especially in the blue base. Yeah, you can see that he needs all the army he can get there, especially because he's fighting against quite a lot of Mangonels, and he needs some proper micro to defend against that. Purple is moving yet again, even more lefty, with yet another town center. He's right now pretty much abandoning his home base, I would think, and hoping that he can somehow protect this gold as long as he can, because he doesn't have any kind of gold on the left side. Yeah, that's kind of important to note, because even though he's running from his home base, he doesn't have any kind of resources here, so not really all that ideal for him. And unfortunately for him, Kanala has just found out where he was hiding, and yep, I'm kinda expecting this is going to be a quick end of all those villies here, and those up top also. At the same time, Blue has been able to defend himself. He got rid of all those Mangonels, and he's having a pretty decent amount of plumed archers at this point. Research and Thumbring, making them all that better. Sorry about that, and doing some extra raiding. Oh yeah, he is. He's at this point raiding even the other opponent, and that's Kanala, and trying to maybe somehow buy some time to his ally Chavez Mestre to get back into the game and do something against his Grey Nemesis. Yeah, find some extra release, but he already did, and it almost seemed like the Grey wasn't paying all that much attention, but he was, and he is right now being pretty much occupied in his base, and to prevent any more losses to his economy. On the right side, Chavez Mestre is still quite well holding his home base, even though it seems like he was kinda abandoning it, but he's not at this point, and it seems like that Kanala is switching to the left side, already having arbalests, and hoping that he can maybe just stop the expansion to the left and then advance on his opponent from both sides, I would kind of think. Yep, that's a pretty good strategy and could be landing the results pretty soon. So goodbye Mangonel. And happening something interesting here. Not much, I was still waiting for the castle potentially, for some trebuchets or whatnot, and really I'm not seeing enough siege here if Grey wanted to close the game up, but he seems to be taking things way too slow, and well, he better hope he doesn't regret this kind of decision. Red is also switching into another unit right now into the Knights, so that's going to be Cavaliers pretty soon, yeah, and Paladins right after, I would think. But he doesn't have enough resources for that, so it's still some ways off, but I'm kinda thinking that Cavaliers should be enough against all those plumed archers. But still, those castles are up here, also with the town centers, and that's good enough defense, especially against Knights here. But he better be careful so that he doesn't let his villies die all that easily, which unfortunately for him he is right now doing. Come on, those should have been in the DC. but at least now they are, and well, even though he's losing on the village here, it's still buying him extra time to produce more plumed archers, and right now he's having a pretty decent number of them, and if he can properly micro into those knights, he would still be able to pretty much defend without any problem. Unfortunately for him though, Chavez Mastre is at this point thinking that he's pretty much a GG. He has lost quite a lot of villages. Well, that's a good hit. One more. Oh yeah, that was a very nice one. As Canala wasn't paying really all that much attention, and yeah, that really did cost him. And oh yeah, this is pretty much the reason why Chavez Mestre was calling for GG, because he was raided from the right side as well with the Eagle Warriors, and he doesn't at this point see how he could potentially come back into the game. But looking at the villagers, I'm not exactly all that much surprised. Having 34 villies against 80 plus, that's not really something that you can defend against. And with some proper play and extra siege, like the cap drums from Canala, this might be it. Yeah, this is right now pretty threatening army from Grey on purple, and yeah, I don't really see how purple can defend against that. Looking at the minimap on the left, I don't really see all that much happening there. It seems like that red is just waiting at this point, and here we see the GGs, and Chavez Mestre is resigning, and RFRs are taking game 1 on their home map, Arabia. Well, it was kind of interesting game with unusual Drashin at the very start with 5 militias, not the usual 3s, and it seemed to have paid off quite substantially because especially Dark Levi's was able to kind of make villagers busy of Saudade Amigo and slow him down, and it really helped him in amassing enough army to raid him early on. So, pretty good job in that. Let's have a look at the achievements. With Dark Levi's being the MVP. And Canala not really far behind. I was kind of thinking that Dark Levi's, yeah, he did have better echo and better armor at the very start, but I think Canala played this very nicely with kind of half trash. Yeah, he was just building one tower on the wood line of his opponent, and it really paid off, and his early pressure was what basically put Chavez Mestre out of the game. Pretty good echo from Dark Levi's.
Yes.
And yep, this is it. This is the first game. GG.